in the first, let me just tell you who I am because I don't know any of you really that personally, except for a few. I am Lisa Morris. I am a mama of four kiddos. Three live with us. Samantha is 22. Ryan is 15. Amaya is 8 and Maxwell is 5. I am married, going on 9 years, and I am new to Soul. I am about in my second month. I'm also a police officer full time, so I am doing Soul part time. And that's a little bit about me. So I went through, I've had previous, I was a Beachbody coach, so I did a little bit of network marketing with that, but I eventually ended up on eating psychology, and that training was about 8 months. So what was 8 months? So this is tidbits that I got from it. It's kind of foundational as far as the mind, body, eating, and how, the why behind how we get where we get, and some other ways to help with our relationship with food and the way that we, all that stuff. If you guys have questions as I go, just unmute yourself and ask away. Hopefully I'm not, don't go too long because it's kind of a lot. Okay, so a couple things. First week is mindset in the program, right? So I'm going to touch on 3 different things. And hold on, how do I go back on this? Okay, perfect. So just a couple starting points. So when it comes to weight and its loss, first we have to meet them where they are. This is extremely important, and you guys know this, but it's good to really listen to them and be empathetic, because where we are at and the things that we know aren't necessarily what they know, right? So if you don't start them if you don't see where they are and where their mindset is, then it's a lot harder to get them engaged and give them long-term success. And then the second thing I wanted to mention is what is your or their. So this is stuff that is applicable, obviously, to us and to whoever we're mentoring or helping. What is your internal dialogue? So are you someone that has a lot of self-hate, a lot of putting yourself down? You'll notice that usually right away when you're talking with people. And it's important that you just redirect that and help them to, have a better dialogue within themselves, because this makes a difference in their stress chemistry within their body and just their overall well-being. So when you start to help them to come at things from a place of love, it's going to just improve everything all together. It's going to give them more embodiment and so forth. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then self-love, it's important. Self-love, obviously we know is important, but you can't, one important distinction that is people don't really think about is you can't hate yourself into weight loss. You have to come at it from a place of love and acceptance. And this is extremely hard for people because we, go throughout life oftentimes with different experiences, and that's really hard to do. So just saying you can't hate yourself into weight loss, if you're just saying that to people, is going to help them think about it and be like, that's interesting. And it's going to, help get their mind thinking like, okay, maybe I do need to think about this a little bit more, and kind of get them in the right place. So the first week is mindset within the program. And we're going to talk about toxic nutritional beliefs, pleasure, and embodiment. So a toxic nutritional belief is a belief about your food, body, or nutrition that can be as toxic as in a poor quality food. So we'll go into that in a second. And then
life cycle, no matter what we do, they're going to do what.
What's that? No, nothing. Okay. And then pleasure is our relationship with pleasure profoundly influences the health of our relationship with food and body. So it's very, very important that we learn to have a pleasurable experience with food. And, a lot of people hate the idea or thought of food because it brings back, dieting consciousness. And we'll talk about that also. And then embodiment is how present we are inside of our own skin and our sense of comfort when it comes to occupying your own body and being in your own body. So toxic nutritional beliefs. We have to learn to kind of sniff out the key toxic nutritional beliefs that directs our clients and our relationship to food, body, and health. When we sense this or when we recognize this, we have to explain it to them in love. So we can't come at them with it because that's not going to go well. But this can have a very profound effect on your client. And they have to learn to recognize that belief, see that it's toxic, it's not working for them, and give them an alternative, right? So here's a couple common ones. So a lot of people think that food is the enemy. It is not good. Does nothing but create stress for them in any way, shape. And your goal is to help them to make friends with food. You know, we have to have food, right? It is foundational. We die without it, right? And helping them see that not all food is bad, that all food in moderation should be enjoyed and it's made to be enjoyed. So just kind of talking with them about that is going to help. And then another one is appetite is the enemy. So a lot of people that are scared to feel hungry because they think, oh, if I'm hungry, that means I'm going to overeat. And all they think about is that, right? That's all on their mind all the time. So we need to educate them and realize that listening to your body when it feels hungry, a lot of times we don't even know when we're hungry because of all the dieting we've been on, our metabolism's all messed up. And you know, that's really hard. So by helping them to listen to their body and respect it, you're helping them get in their body, which is going to make them make smarter choices because they're going to start, you know, respecting that appetite instead of trying to push it away. And then fat in food makes me fat. So this was hard for me, really hard for me, because we grow up with the low fat culture, right? Low, you know, fat is bad. And this has gotten better over the years. But they think fat is bad. You don't have to eat a low fat diet. Even good fat is bad fat. And if I consume fat, that means that I'm going to have fat in my body. And that's just not true. So just tell them you know, it's called essential fatty acids for a reason. Like we have to have them to survive. So helping them to understand that and, you know, tell them some healthy fats and why we need them and what they're going to do for their body. And I think that's laid out in the guide too. And then less food and more exercise equals the royal road to weight loss. So this is pushed by big food, right? All you got to do is exercise and you got to eat less and you'll get results. And clearly we see that the dieting doesn't work. You know, 99% of diets fail. So we know that is statistical evidence. So we have to show them that there's other ways and why. And so and you'll notice these, you know, pop up as they talk about it. Oh, I just need to exercise more and whatever, and it's not working. Well, it's not working because it doesn't work. And we have to be more holistic in the way that we are approaching it. And then if I were only thin, then I would be happy. This is a big one. I thought this for years. If only I lost 10 pounds, if only I was more toned, then I would love my body more. I think everybody thinks this to a degree, and it's extremely detrimental to your own well-being because you have a choice to be happy now in the body you encompass right now. Like I said before, you cannot love yourself from a place of hate. You just can't. Your body is very smart. It knows what you're doing to it and trying to do to it. So you have to make that choice to start somewhere. You know, start by liking yourself. You don't got to love yourself right away. Start by liking yourself and point out things about yourself that, you know, you like. There's got to be things, right? And if you don't know, ask one of your friends. They'll tell you things that are great about you. But we have to help them to, you know, recognize that things they're doing right now for their health. You know, they signed up for the program. They made that choice. That's a start, right? And not wait until ... That could, you know, that's with anything in life. Choose to be happy now. Any questions before I move on from this one? I know I'm going kind of fast. No.
I just want to tell you, this
Okay.
looks so amazing. Like, this is great. Love it.
Oh, Canva. I've never done one of these presentations before. So, okay, next up is pleasure. So diminished pleasure, whoops, I'm still learning, hold on. Oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I go? Hold on, wait. I have a lot of energy, you guys. That's Mate is something else. Okay. I keep trying to move this camera around so I can read my screen here. So diminished pleasure equals diminished metabolism. So pleasure is a built-in requirement of the body. We think about it. As soon as you come out, what do you need? You need your mama, right? You need that touch, that milk, that love, right? We are programmed to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Our bodies are extremely smart and they protect us. And eating is inherently pleasurable. So a lot of people fight against that. They're scared of it. They have a fear of it or they feel guilty about it. And, you know, it's not our fault that we feel that because it's ingrained in us, in our culture, in our society. In dieting, you know, like I said, fat is bad. So every time you have something that has fat in it, you enjoy it for that moment, or maybe you're not even present in that moment because you're just eating mindlessly. And then afterwards, you feel terrible. So we have to learn that it's okay to have pleasure around food, and learn that and even if like so when I stopped dieting about almost 2 years ago now, literally stopped every diet possible. And I was scared that if I did, I was going to eat all the things, right? All of them, everything, carbs, fat, all of it. I immediately think of red vine licorice because that is my favorite. I'm like, I'm going to eat 3 pounds of this stuff and I'm never going to stop. But what happens is when you give yourself unconditional permission to eat anything and everything, you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want. That takes away the, I don't even know what the word is, the wrongness of it. So think about it. If you tell yourself I can't have something or I can't do something, that's exactly what you think about all the time until you have it. So when you take that away, that like, I can't reach it, I can't have it thing, you don't want to do it as much. So what I did is I ate some stuff, a lot of it. I gained about 12 pounds, 15 pounds, and I've almost lost all of it. But eventually it's not that big of a deal anymore because I can have it now, right? So, and I started to enjoy it. So a lot of people who have binge eating or emotional eating, they do a lot of emotional eating or stress eating. It's important that you help them to, and you'll notice this when you talk with people, they'll be like, oh, I eat at night a lot. You know, that's when I overeat or whatever. When you explain to them and help them to enjoy every single bite, taste it, feel how it chews, every single bite, enjoy it, even, and don't make it bad, make it like an event, right? So when you're able to do that, it's going to help you be in your body and it's going to change the way you look at food. And pleasure. So think about when you're a kid. I mean, everybody has the memories of ice cream or like me, big giant bowls of cereal, sitting in my underwear on the recliner. I will never forget the time. Like it was just happiness for me, right? And we can have that as adults. So it's very important that we expand our pleasure. And also, a lot of people choose food as their only source of pleasure. So that is their only go-to, right? They forget, and I can't see the chat. So if you, someone tell me if someone says something in the chat that I need to hear. What was I saying? Oh, it's their only source of pleasure. So helping them find that balance of, okay, so every night, you know, you're doing this and this is what you normally do. What are some other areas that we can give you pleasure in your life? Some other sources of self-care, exercise. What can you do in your home? Maybe you take a bath, sex, music, whatever it is, right? Give them some other outlets for that. And then, so having an empowered relationship with pleasure is going to create a healthy relationship with your food in your body, and which leads to our most natural metabolism. So when you are able to relax and have more pleasure, it's going to relax your body, which is going to allow it to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to digest better. It's going to assimilate better, all of that, right? Does that make sense? Anything else? Any questions on that? All right, so embodiment. So this is huge. This was huge for me. You must be in your body and not check out. A lot of people disembody with a lot of things in life, especially with food. They self-hate, they self-attack. And if we were more inside of our body, you know, we would feel our feelings. And a lot of people are scared of that, right? Because that's going to bring up stuff and makes you deal with stuff. And we start to honor our body wisdom. So it's the same thing with like the appetite, you know, that'll help you to be inside your body and feel hungry or whatever. Embodiment heals body image. A lot of weight issues are not, it's not about food at all. It's about way more than that. It's usually about body image, self-worth, and all that. So when we teach people to be in their body and embody more, it helps them want to do the things as far as nutrition and movement. And that it's like a domino effect, like Kristen, like you said. And you have to be in your body. You have to be in your body to have lasting weight loss. You just do. You can't be across the room and then see your body over there and be like, I want you to do this and this and this, but I'm going to be over here. It doesn't work like that. Like I said, your body is smart. Your body knows. It wants you to honor it, to respect it, you know? And this is not hard. It is a practice. It is something you have to learn. And, you know, so ways that we can do this. So self-acceptance of past and present. How many of us have traumas, right? We've been through hell in so many ways, a lot of us. And so that's huge. It's huge, huge, huge. I could go into a lot about that, but, you know, just accepting, okay, this is where I am in life. This is my body. I don't have to be crazy about it, but this is the one I have. This is the one God gave me. And I may want to change it, and that's fine. I might have weight to lose, you know, I might want to do this or that, but for now I'm in it. I'm going to be in it. I'm going to love it for what it is. And then, you know, improve as I need to. Doing movement that you like. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Being present, positive self-talk, dancing, yoga, you can see all the things. Feeling your feelings. So allowing yourself, if you have anxiety, allowing yourself to be anxious, right? Don't fight against it. It's okay. You feel that feeling. Moody, happy. I had to learn that. Just, you know, allow myself to have a bad day. Guess what? I'm having a bad day and it's okay. So those are examples of being in your body. Mirror work, that's a little more intense, but that's where you do the practice of sitting in front of your mirror, ideally naked. Some people can't do it right away, but you got to work up to it. And just looking at yourself and pointing out something about yourself that you like. It could be your fingers, okay? It could be your nails. It could be your neck. It could be something, you know, and this is not easy, but do it for 5 minutes and just work on that, you know, being inside of your body. As far as dancing, there's this workout called, you guys might have heard of it. What is it called? How am I going to forget it? Body Groove. Have you guys heard of Body Groove? There's commercials on it, and this is super like, looks like a 70s type chick that's real like retro, and she's like doing all these like sensual moves, and it is like the definition of embodiment. My sister is doing it right now because she loves dancing and she hates all forms of exercise. And like there's one thing where they like, she just talks to you and has you breathe and touch your chest. It is like amazing for her. She's like, this is therapy. And it is a perfect example of her being in her body. I get goosebumps talking about it because it's just so cool. But another big point, the bottom bullet there, is you must agree to be here in this life. You have to agree to be here. You're here, right? So it's not serving you to fight against it. It's just not. Be in your own skin. So I had to do this with being a mom. So I never realized, I've always wanted to be a mom, but I never realized how hard it was going to be. So like, why didn't my mom tell me that, right? She didn't tell me that. So I had to accept that, guess what? I am a mom, and guess what? It is really hard. It's hard. And the moment I like just accepted that, you know what, it is hard. And this is where I'm at. Then it became easier because I wasn't fighting against that. Like, why is this impossible? Like, why did I think that I could do this? You know, like all those thoughts kind of went because I was accepting that it just is hard. So that's just an example. Any comments about that before we move on? I know I'm talking really fast. I do that. Okay. Nutrition. So this is week 2 of the program. I have up there, only fix it if it is a problem. So not everybody is the same. We are all different. So it's important that we listen to them and find out exactly what they need. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I love that saying. So there's stress versus relaxed eating. Obviously, our goal is relaxed eating and living. Our eating speed is a huge, huge problem that can lead to a lot of health when we do it. And most people characterize themselves as fast eaters. And then your rhythm or your pattern of eating. So those are the things we're gonna dig into. What time is it? I got till 9, right? 8:47. Okay, we're okay. You guys can still hear me okay? We're good? Okay. So stress eating versus relaxed eating. So I think I've heard someone, maybe it was Tiffany, someone mentioned the stress response and the, so in our bodies, we have a response to stress where your body does not know whether or not it's being chased by a lion or if it's not, right? So when we're stressed out, that's how our body reacts. It protects us. So there's lots of things that we do regarding eating that puts us in a stress state. And we are in a stress state, it's going to cause all kinds of issues. Dis-ease. I always love that when I learned that, I'm like, dis-ease, get it? Like disease. I was like, mind blown. And it can cause all kinds of food problems. So this is very common and it greatly affects our health. It is usually habitual. So it's something that you're learning and it's became a habit. So habits are hard to break, right? So this is a process and practice. And you have to, let me see what it says. Oh, if they can't be coached into learning to be relaxed eaters, they're not going to be able to sustain any form of lasting beneficial change because, again, if your body is stressed out, it's not going to do what you want it to do. You can be doing the best diet, movement, and supplements on earth, but if your body is stressed out, it's going to focus on being not stressed out. And if you don't allow it to do that, it can't do its job. So if you have someone that is very stressed and they're the type of people who aren't willing to be less stressed, but yet they want to lose weight, it's going to be an uphill battle because they have to see that need. So some things that we can do to relax. Breathing is huge. This one is so beneficial and it's kind of underrated, I feel like. So taking 5 to 10 slow breaths or occasional breaths between bites, before your meals or after. Being aware of your surroundings. So a lot of people eat while they're watching TV, they eat while they're in a car, they eat while they're having lunch or working, or they eat while they're at work, at their desk. So all these things are taking your body away from actually eating. So it's going to affect your digestion, your assimilation, and your metabolism. Focusing on the sensation, the texture, the taste, I touched on that a little bit. It makes a big difference. I read a testimony of someone who, it was the guy who trained me for this. He was doing a YouTube video, and he had a client who every day at lunch, he would run to McDonald's and he would get a Big Mac meal every single day. He was a doctor and he was so busy, and this is what he did, and every single day. And when he came to Mark, the practitioner, he's like, don't take away I'm not changing that. This is what I do. I have to do it every day. This is my thing. And all Mark David did was tell him, all I want you to do is relax when you're eating. Don't change what you're eating. Go have your McDonald's. But he said, I want you to sit in the parking lot instead of eat it on the way back to work. And I want you to sit in the parking lot and I want you to just taste the food. just taste what you're eating. And so like 2 weeks, and he had complaints of digestion and heartburn issues. And after like, I don't know if it was a couple weeks, completely everything went away. No digestion, no heartburn. And he's like, I don't even like Big Macs. So like he had been eating this food forever, and he realized that he didn't even like them after he actually got in his body, right? And he did the relaxed eating, he realized, and so he had all kinds of success. So, and that's not even on any program, that's eating McDonald's, right? So that's how successful this stuff is. And then making a time to eat. We all rush, we all have so many things to do. So help, yourself or your clients to carve out that time. And we'll talk about eating speed in a second. Is very, very important. So this is a journey. You have to trust in the journey. And it's a process and it takes practice, but it is very helpful. And then eating speed. So again, this is learned. It is difficult to unlearn, especially if you're in the military, because you have 10 minutes for chow time and you have to scarf down your food and that's it. Or when you're a kid and you want to go back outside and play, right? You just eat, go. But any unwanted habit or negative, it is automatic and it's unconscious. So in order to change it, we have to bring it into the consciousness. So you can do this with your clients by pointing out and asking them, how would you classify yourself? Would you classify yourself as a slow, moderate, or fast eater? Most people are going to say fast because that's just our culture and our society and how it's learned. And remember to tell them this isn't your fault, right? This is just a result of how we grow up and how, just how society is. But we can change it, right? We can move toward making it better. So what this does for them is it brings awareness to them when you mention it, and it helps them to be present when they eat. So when you learn to eat slow, it's going to do what our goal is to put your body in that relaxation state, which is the goal for our optimum assimilation, calorie burning, and digestion. Eating speed and the speed of life are generally reflective of each other. So usually you're going to eat fast when your life is fast, right? And sometimes people will get kind of crappy with you when you mention this, and because they don't want to stop, right? They think that they don't realize that it's not working for them. So you kind of got to approach it in love, and just kind of take baby steps with it. And they're also usually in a stress response around food. So if they slow down, it makes them embody, right? It makes them think about it and it makes them uncomfortable. So we kind of got to take those things step by step to help those beliefs to help them make better, to slow down when they eat. But this is another one that is fundamental to our getting to our healthiest metabolism in relationship to food. So the goal as far as a time with eating, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that's ideal. Most people, it's 5 to 10 minutes. That's what most people say when I work with them. That's what their time to eat is. So start where they're at. If 5 to 10 minutes is what they do now, up at 5 minutes. Say, can you just maybe do 15 minutes for a meal? And then slowly increase that as they get a little bit better. Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all think I'm crazy?
So good. Keep going.
Okay. And this is all information for my training, y'all. I am not coming up with this. So duplication, right? Okay, so eating rhythm. So when we eat is just as important as what we're actually eating. This is a struggle for me because I'm on midnight. But meal timing is important. It's not about right or wrong, though. We have to create a rhythm that works for each person, and it's kind of like an exploration. Just think of your whole health as just a big exploration. You got to figure out what works for us. And too many of us, I think that the next thing is going to work for them. And exploration is good, but you can't make those assumptions. Like a good example is intermittent fasting. Works for some people wonderfully. Yes, it is scientific as far as it working, but not for every person, not for everybody, right? So you just got to kind of see if it works for you. Most people, when they skip meals, they're doing it because they're trying to diet, lose weight, and control their appetite. And for most people, and I'm just like generally speaking, that doesn't work. It usually leads to overeating, binge eating in the late afternoon or at dinner time. So the best time for healthy fat and protein is actually breakfast. If you do have carbs, you want to make them complex carbs. And let's talk about biocircadian rhythm. And that's a hard one because most of us grow up on cereal and oatmeal and Pop-Tarts and waffles and all those things, right? And even if we're doing the complex carbs ones, it's still not going to give you that fullness and that energy to get you through all day. Not all day, but you know what I mean, till the next meal. At least it doesn't for me and most people that I work with. I've had one person she started eating full fat yogurt with some nuts in it or something for breakfast. And I actually increased what she was eating before. Totally changed she's like, I was full until lunch. I couldn't believe it. And she increased her food, right? But that's because of that fat and that protein. So biocircadian rhythm, 12 to 1:30 is when your metabolism is at its highest. So that's actually the best time to have the biggest meal of the day and the most carb centric. I know yet a lot of people will barely eat lunch, right? Or we try to skip lunch or whatever the case. And then 1 to 5 a.m. or actually dinner is usually our biggest meal, right? Because we usually undereat breakfast and lunch because we're busy and blah, blah, blah. 1 to 5 a.m. is when your metabolism is at its slowest. So that affects midnight people like me. So I usually eat a meal at 2 to 3 a.m. I think I'm kind of figuring that out, but it's hard because that's literally my lunch or my dinner time, right? So overnight is when your body is repairing and it is relaxing and it's doing things that it's meant to do. So if you eat a giant meal at 9 o'clock, clearly your body's not going to work as well in metabolizing that than if it was noon or 1:30. Just a little graphic on biocircadian rhythm. Can you guys see where I'm pointing? Can you see this? So I've been playing with this whole time. It's probably driving you guys crazy. That would drive me crazy. Okay, so something I noticed that was kind of interesting was at 9 o'clock, so 2100 hours, that's when your melatonin secretion starts. So that's really interesting. So you can tell your body is slowing down, right? Your bowel movements are suppressed at 10:30, which is super interesting. Deepest sleep, 2 a.m. And then I noticed this melatonin secretion stops at 7:30 a.m. So the whole bowel movement at 8:30, this blew my mind because up until I was on midnight shift, I would always have a bowel movement about that time. And I'm like, this is just my normal. Well, it's because it's your clock. So if that's happening, then you know that you're doing something right because that's your natural rhythm. So I thought that was really cool. And I didn't realize that at 5 o'clock is your greatest cardiovascular muscle strength, which is interesting. So maybe I'll start working out then. All right, I'm almost done. And then this one's faster than the other ones. So lastly is movement. I didn't include consistency on this, but I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory. And just telling people your body is your vessel, right? It is your vehicle in life, kind of can help them to respect it more. Toxic beliefs about exercise. Baby steps is the goal. Again, consistency is key, meeting them where they are. And the idea that there is such thing as too much exercising, and it can kill your adrenals and totally mess up everything. So we have that problem a lot too. So it's important that we educate them. So we are creatures of habit. So the more you can get them to do something that they enjoy consistently, is the more likely the chances they're going to keep doing it. Because, that toxic belief that exercise more, exercise, it's going to burn calories. Yes, it burns calories, but if you put yourself in too much of that stress state, guess what? You're going to have the opposite result. So over exercise is definitely a thing. And also helping them realize a lot of people have the goal of, they think that they should be able to do what they did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. They think that they should be able to weigh what they weighed in high school. And that's just not who they are anymore, right? Most of us are way older than that. So we have to have realistic expectations. So the same goes for exercise. And we have to meet them where they are. So in the program, I believe it says 30 to 60 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. That's what the goal is, right? I think I put that in there. So for a lot of people, that's too much for them, right? They don't exercise at all now. They don't do anything. So if you could get them to walk outside for 10 minutes that first week or whatever, and do it 3 times that week, that's going to be a huge victory for them, right? So you got to see where they're at and help them, as you're talking to them at the beginning of that week, to see where they're at, to start with something. And it's imperative that they're doing something that they enjoy, because if they don't like it, they're not going to keep doing it. And we want them to be consistent. We want them to, and also you can help them to dispel any future myths about stuff. So a lot of people tell me they hate running, right? I hate it. It's terrible. As soon as I do it, I can't breathe and I got to stop. It's something I learned because I used to hate running too. And now I've done 2 marathons. And the difference was, someone told me once, if you're running too fast that you can't have a conversation, if you're running so fast that you can't have a conversation, you're going too fast. So the moment I realized that, I started slowing down, and I started to I fell in love with it. So sometimes people might need to give something a chance that they didn't before, or kind of change up the way it is. And you can't force it. They have to decide and want to do it. It has to be their choice, or it's not going to stick. So help them to figure it out. So don't say do this. Say, what do you like? What has been helpful for you, and helping dispel myths of things like walking is an exercise. I always think that if I get on the elliptical, I'm not doing anything. I feel like that's just nothing for me, right? It's not strenuous enough. I'm not sweating. You do not have to sweat to get a good workout. Yoga, one of the best things on earth that people can do to relax, and you will get results, especially if you're not used to exercising. So dispelling those common beliefs. Strength training, exceptionally good for women. No, you're not going to get bulky if you lift weights. So that's another myth. Yes, if you're doing it like CrossFit and maxing out every other day, you're going to bulk up. But I think that's a common belief as far as that goes. So educating them is important, and helping them enjoy it and do something that they enjoy. So that is all I got. What time is it? 9:05.